A short update on the energies. July 1, 2014. As you have perhaps already noticed, you will be subjected to a myriad of different energetic sources now, and they in turn will serve to ignite quite a few conflicting responses within you, both in the physical but also in the emotional sense. Let us explain. We have touched briefly upon the fact that you are not only carriers of light and information, you have also been dispersing the same for many a lifetime already, and now, as these seeds starts to germinate and come into life, one by one at first, but very soon in a veritable avalanche, these seeds themselves will also start to affect you in so many ways. For even if you have dropped them away from you, so to speak, on your journeys here on this planet, you still carry the imprint of these signals to the world within your DNA, and this combined with the reciprocal feedback you have been given from your own planet every time you have deposited one of these pods of information, will make many a circuit within you start to talk louder and louder. And so, what you hear will at times be a veritable cacophony of signals, seemingly pushing you in all directions at once, giving you no solid ground to stand on, and taking you out on a dizzying journey that will be apt to make the strongest amongst you feel weakened. But again, these conflicting emotions and physical signals are merely signals of improvements, not just on a personal level, but indeed on a global one. For what is taking place is a huge awakening of sorts that will stir up any and all of the old and stagnant pools still covering much of the surface of this planet. Remember, what has been instigating all of this highly negative energy in the first place has been removed, and as such, the old controlling forces are not in place anymore, but the residue from them is still very much in place all around you, just like the puddles left after a heavy rain. But now, what you have been planting has started to stir and push its way through the topsoil, and as it starts to emerge and start to interact with the energies already there, everything will seem to be in turmoil at one time or the other. Again, this is not a sign of unrest in a negative way, rather, it is a sign of the most beneficial stirring up this planet of yours will ever experience. For now, no place will be left untouched by the effect of these newly hatched seedlings that will begin to make their voices heard in all sorts of ways. We know that for many of you, this unrest will feel more than a little bit unsettling, but again, that is indeed the whole purpose of this part of the whole operation. For this carefully targeted stirring up will enable such a profound clearing of the entire energetic environment on the surface of this planet. Remember, you have been instrumental in putting into place a whole new energetic grid all around this planet, but what we are talking about now is literally within the very soil, the ground upon which you all walk, the very foundation of your societies. For in this topmost layer of your planet, within this very thin crust is where all of the old energetic deposits have accumulated, the old density that has supplanted the vibrant freshness and vitality that used to constitute the very essence of your existence. But now, these seeds that you have so diligently been secreting away into this thin upper layer have received the required amount of light they need in order to come into life, in every sense of the word. For they have not been harmed or inhibited in any way by these accrued layers of dross that have been deposited lifetime after lifetime, century after century upon this planet as humanity continued ever deeper into the darkening alley they had chosen to venture, far from it. For these seeds are indeed indestructible, they will thrive in any atmosphere and in any kind of energetic environment, for they have been designed to withstand any and all attempts of destruction or alteration. For they carry that same frequency that you have now attained, and as such, no lower densities could harm them at all. And so they simply stayed here, waiting for the signal to emerge, and now, that signal has been given, and so this wondrous process of unfolding has been set into motion. And so, bit by bit that old and dense crust will be penetrated from below by these hardy seedlings, and as they push through these old and rigid layers, they will set off a vibration that will go through every single particle it comes into contact with. This in turn will act as a signal to the neighboring ones, setting off a chain reaction that in turn will encompass the entirety of the surface of this planet. Remember, what you look upon as negativity is simply a source of energy, one that can and will be utilized for the most beneficial of purposes, just like the waste excreted from animals will be utilized to fertilize your fields. For even if this planet may look barren and encrusted in such a deep layer of negativity, it is in fact simply an ocean of potential, waiting to be set into good use, and as these small but potent seeds take root and start to sprout, they will tap into this potential and use it for all it is worth, fueling their own growth by tapping into this vast repository of old energy. For energy is the only single source that exists anywhere in creation. Energy is what it is, and so, the task will simply be to restore the vibrational level of this energy in such a way, it will return into being a source of positive change instead of negative limitation. We know we speak in what some may refer to as oversimplified terms, but at the very core, this is what is happening now. Nothing in creation is of such a character it cannot be retuned in a way that will be considered as beneficial, and so, this embattled and scarred planet of yours is no exception. Mankind has an idea that it has depleted so many of the natural resources this planet carries, but that is not the way to see this. You have simply mismanaged many of them to a gross degree, but you cannot deplete energy, nor can you pollute it in such a way it is unfit for consumption. For energy simply is, and now, that wondrous potential you live amongst will finally begin to be reset and retuned to a source of light and indeed delight for all, instead of being that debilitating burden of negativity it has been for such a long time. For there are no limits to what you can do now, and there are no limits to what this change will bring about, and there is no chance that you will run out of raw material either. For you already have everything you need at your disposal, so make this huge makeover come about, both in the form of manpower, and also in the form of natural resources in way of energy and information. And so, those seeds you planted such a long time ago, and those seeds you are also busy scattering all over the place as you go about your daily lives now, all of those seeds will find everything they need to come into fruition. For they will thrive in the darkest and dampest of places, and so too will they thrive in the driest and most barren ones. For there are no limits as to what these seeds can take and still start to vibrate at such a rate. It will bring this whole planet back into that dance of life it has so wanted to re-enter for eons. For these seeds are nothing more than carriers of frequencies that will help to retune everything and everyone they come into contact with. And as they do their magic, all matter will begin to sing to the same tune. And when it does, nothing will be as before, and we do mean that in a very literal sense. For no matter where you look, both within and without, everything you see or sense in any way is simply energy vibrating at a certain rate, and so, this dance of life that you still know how to do will finally be the one that will be enacted by all that exist on this planet, and not just by a handful, as it has been for so long. For there has always been individuals like yourselves maintaining that frequency of life, no matter how dense and disconnected the majority of the inhabitants on this planet have been, and so, you will be the first to rejoice, for you will find company again after a long and solitary journey as one by one, thousands upon thousands of other souls will be joining in this joyous circle, dancing with joy, dancing with life, and dancing the very life back into this entire planet once again. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com